Welcome to the Barker Podcast Collection.
Welcome to the Not Watching Podcast. My name's Rob Howard, and today I'm joined by
Marcus Hurley.
We're well into 2020 now, but as you just said, Marcus, January goes on for a very, very long time.
Yep. And the 91st of January is when I get paid.
Yeah, that's when this episode's coming out. Yeah, oh yeah, I know what you mean on the wallet. Yeah, God. So better late than never. We're going to go through our favourite movies of 2019. Of course, we haven't seen every film that came out in 2019. I've done my best, though, to try and get to some of the little stragglers that are now available to rent and stuff. But yeah, some stuff like that came out towards the end of last year, I haven't seen, like Doctor Sleep.
No, I haven't either.
Yeah, I'm trying to think now of things like that I have a feeling. I mean, if I think a film's got any chance whatsoever of getting into my top 5, I will try and see it. But I just didn't get around to Doctor Sleep. No. Just the stars did not align. Luckily, a lot of really good films came out on Netflix at the end of the year, so that was handy. But anyway, without going into all of that, shall we begin? So, all right, then we're going to do top 5 movies of 2019 that came out in the UK in 2019. And so I'm going to let you begin, Marcus, with your number 5.
My number 5, as any listener would know by now, is usually one of 3 films. But this time I only have 6 in my top 5, so I'm still shuffling it around. Oh, God. I'm torn. I'm going to go with Bumblebee.
Oh, right. Now, you see, I'll give you that because that's my number 11 because it actually came out on Boxing Day 2018.
Yeah, I know.
But it does deserve mention. So I think the fact that I've got it, I was going to mention it anyway.
I didn't know it came out Boxing Day. I thought it was a 2019 film. Oh.
I'll let you have it, man, because it really it's awkward, the films that come out in that slot just between Christmas and New Year.
Who the hell's going to go to the cinema on Boxing Day to watch it?
Yeah, well, you'd be surprised.
Fucking hell. Yeah, you can tell this is really pulling at my heartstrings. I just thought Bumblebee was amazing. It felt to me like the Transformers film. I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the first, as they're sort of colloquially called Bayformers films. I liked what he did with it. It was a different way of doing Transformers. I thought it was really cool. But it's just something about capturing that 80s magic. I want to see more. I want to see Prime in his original tractor-trailer form. I want to see I want to see Laserbeak and all that as 80s cassettes. Soundwave was amazing. It was the Transformers film I didn't think they would be able to make, and they did somehow. And it just felt like it should have been a Spielberg film as well. And to me, that's not a bad thing. You know.
Well, it did borrow quite heavily from E.T.
Yeah, well, that probably why. Yeah.
Yeah, but I wouldn't hold that against it at all because
if you're gonna take from good source material, go for some of the best. And it worked. I just thought it was one of the best Transformers films, and this is from someone who was massively burned by the franchise. You know, I didn't give a shit. I saw the last one. Was it Knights of something or the Dark Knight? The last night, and I was just watching it, going, "When is this going to end?" Even the Dinobots didn't save it for me. I was just like, "This is just too long, too much, too late." But Bumblebee was amazing.
Yeah, I definitely had a tear in my eye all the way through it. They referenced like the movie. I actually, my sister's been clearing out the loft, and she brought round a whole box full of Transformers comics from the 80s that I collected that have been gathering dust. So yeah, I mean, I'm a through and through diehard fan of the Transformers, like from a very early age. I mean, those comics are actually Marvel comics.
Oh wow!
Yeah, they were like my superheroes, I guess, growing up. Transformers.
Yeah, I remember I used to wake up really early before going to primary school. I think it was like 7:32 it was on. And I used to basically be very quiet and turn on the TV at the bottom of my bed because I'd somehow managed to wangle a little TV into my room and I'd just watch Transformers, Gen 1 Transformers, just to see what was going on.
Oh, yeah, you've got to love it. No, thinking of like the way that it sort of plays on the themes of E.T. though, I watched Shazam the other night, and that pretty much is big.
Yes, it is.
So I'm sort of wondering, like, there might be some mileage in this. Perhaps we can make
borrow heavily from other films in the era that worked. Because to be honest, in terms of like fantasy films, the 80s and maybe some of the 90s was the era where it all worked. They didn't have the special effects, but story-wise and just imagination, it worked. So now we're probably seeing... I mean, that's the only reason why Stranger Things works.
Yeah. Perhaps the next Transformers spin-off will involve them all being stuck in detention or something.
Yeah. In a club for early lunches. Maybe because it's also a new age thing, it might be like a brunch club or something.
Yeah. Cool. All right then. So best move on that bombshell.
What's your fifth?
My number 5 is Jordan Peele's Us. Follow up to Get Out. This premiered at South by Southwest, which I was at, but not in time to go and see. So because it premiered on the first day of the festival, and we were still travelling to it from New Orleans. So, it's got a kind of holds a place in my heart because of that association. But the film itself, I thought, was a really good commentary on the haves and the have-nots. I like the 80s setting. Again, we're going there. And the fact that there was a lot of comedy. I thought that the whole setup with the tethered and everything was really inspired and different. And it had some really strong iconography. The red boiler suits with the gold scissors. That was actually my Halloween outfit this year. And
nice.
I just got a lot kind of tied up in this film. And I can't wait to see it again. So, yeah, that's my number 5.
I never got around to seeing that. It's one of those films where there's just not enough time. But it's on my list. It's on my list of films yet to see from 2019. So, there are a few.
Cool. What have you seen, though? What's your number 4?
Okay, my number 4, and... yeah, I'm gonna go more to my heartstrings on this because they're two films and they're both. I mean, let's be honest. All of this is taken up by the big blockbuster ones because they're the ones I went to go and see at the cinema, and they're the ones I felt most happy about.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with Detective Pikachu.
Oh wow! Okay,
I know. It was a tie between that and Captain Marvel. I thought Captain Marvel was a really strong film, but just something about seeing a live-action Pokemon movie after all of the fan films and everything just kind of snuck in there and still does. I watched it, we watched it again a couple of months ago, and I still just felt like I really enjoyed that film. I enjoyed what it had to offer, the world it built and everything, and I wanted to see more of it. I was actually still a bit disappointed when the film ended because I wanted to see more. I wanted more adventures to go on and find more stories. And I kind of wish that they would do a series of it. Not necessarily Detective Pikachu, because that story comes and goes. But the world that they set up, I want more of it. So, who knows? And I think that's not a bad thing. When you find yourself wanting more to revisit that place, and hopefully then producing more of it, I think that's a winner in my book.
Yeah, no, that's great, man. I mean, I know you've got a lot of affiliation with Pokemon. And
like
stuff.
I said, I don't
really have that.
No.
So I didn't. it's not really on my radar.
No.
Really.
But I mean, for you, it'll be probably something we might discuss when it comes to TV shows. Would be the closest affinity, I reckon.
Yeah, probably.
But well, we'll flip a coin on that.
Yes, indeed, we shall. I know what you're talking about. Okay, my number 4 is Midsummer.
Oh, nice. I haven't seen this, but go for it.
Yeah, it's Ari Aster, the guy who did Hereditary, creeping me out massively. It's all shot in glorious, like, high dynamic range, so it's like the opposite of horror movies that are normally just you can't see anything, and it's all just there on display. And I love how, like, one of the characters is there just going, what the actual fuck is going on here? And you're just kind of like, that's how you feel while you're watching it. And as all of them kind of just go about and get slowly embroiled in this insidious grimness that is happening in broad daylight, but sort of behind the scenes, and then it's all just up for grabs. There's a director's cut that came out the other day, but it's sold out currently on Amazon. I do mean to get that
really?
At some point. You have to get the Blu-ray. It's not available to stream anywhere, unfortunately. Well, it probably is, and then they've got no one to blame but themselves if they can't actually sell it to me. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, Midsummer is awesome.
Yeah, that's on my list of yet to see. Yeah, I remember when you first saw it and you were saying, "Oh my god, I don't know how I feel about life." Or something.
Yeah, well, I walked out of there because it was on my week off, and I walked out of there and went straight to the beer festival, kind of like when we went and watched Spider-Man the other year. And I was just like dumbstruck, like, oh my god, I can't unsee that now, and I'm in a field again, and people are dancing about, and there's beer, and I need to just go home and lie down, I think.
Yeah.
No, that made quite an impression on me, and it was a film that I was really looking forward to, and massively paid off.
Yeah.
So I was very happy about that.
Cool.
What's your number 3 then?
Okay, so my number 3 is, this might surprise you, Spider-Man Homecoming.
You mean Far From Home?
Oh yeah, that's it, Far From Home. Yeah, he said, changing his notes. Yeah,
which came out the same week as what I just watched. So yeah, that was a good week at the cinema.
I just loved it. I thought the plot just kept me strung along. I was trying to figure out what the hell was going on. And then when there was the twist and the realisation, I was like, ooh, which made me feel like an old school reading a comic. And you just flick that page and then you're like, oh shit.
I was really surprised I bought it despite knowing ahead of time who Mysterio was.
Well, yeah, that's the whole point. But I didn't know the way that they did it. You didn't know whether it was truly him or someone else. It's like, which way is it going to go? Is it going to be this, that? After the whole twist of a Homecoming, when Peter Parker knocks on that door and MJ's dad opens, and you're like, oh shit. So
they're really good at that, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm really liking it. It feels like a comic book film, and it feels fun. And the danger, the peril, I mean, yeah, okay, he probably won't die in the film, but he could probably get really injured. He could probably lose an arm. You don't know, because he's Spider-Man. These things happen to Spider-Man. You know, he could get seriously injured. He could get both arms broken and have to get out of there by running on his feet.
There were some really like trippy sequences in that, almost reminiscent of Spider-Verse, to be honest.
I loved it. Basically, it felt to me like they did what happened in X-Men Apocalypse, where it was the mind battle, where you had Apocalypse turn massive and stuff like that. But whereas that was a cop-out, because Apocalypse could shapeshift size and all that normally, this was perfect, because it was all about illusions. And that whole illusion fight sequence was utterly brilliant. I was just sitting there like, holy shit, how is he going to beat this guy? It's like, there is no Spidey sense, because you don't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
I just thought the way that they utilised the special effects in that it was just brilliant. It was spot on. And I just...
Sorry, carry on.
No, it's just I just thought it was really good, and somehow, despite it being a sort of Sony stroke Marvel movie, it felt like an MCU film. Not just because Happy turned up, Jon Favreau, but it was everything about it. It was the cast. It felt like this is a Spider-Man series that's continuing in the same vein, and then that ending has thrown me out, and I don't know what the hell's going on and then you got the stinger sequence at the end, which if you haven't seen it by now, I'm not going to spoil it. But you could probably do it in another podcast, but that just left me thinking, what the hell's going on? And having just seen the Morbius trailer as well, there's something in that which has thrown me. And I'm like, what the hell? There's a lot going on.
Yeah, I don't think we fully got into it on here before because I think you were a little bit slow watching it. And I think I did my spoiler-free review, but we never really got into it. But we don't. There's not really time for that now. No. But the whole thing is like a bit of an aftermath to the events of Endgame.
Yes.
And I like the way that Mysterio's deal is all kind of tied into Tony Stark's
legacy, isn't it? It's almost like from the first film. It's almost like it's part of that whole full circle coming back to the beginning again. Because the way Endgame
it's like
ends,
tying up a few. Well, it sort of invents some loose ends that no one remembered. Just to sort of tie them up again.
But then you kind of think it makes sense because it's all about corporations and stuff and ideology and everything else. And, people always get belittled and geniuses will always be disgruntled. And it's that sort of typical formula that you see, but works so well as a comic book because comic book stories usually are quite typical. I just thought the cast were brilliant. I just love the way that they set him up and the way that they continued to change him and the way that it ended as well.
It goes to show how like it's Marvel now that they can reach back over all these movies and sort of pull at little strands, can't they? And they'll probably continue to do that, playing off their strengths to propel the MCU further forward. Ever onwards.
I just thought it was a really, really good, really loud, really visceral sort of film. Like, I remember thinking, fucking hell, there's a lot going on. Like, the bangs got me at some point, and I don't normally jump at stuff like that. But I was just sitting there thinking, wow, this is really going for it. And we left the cinema going, that was an experience. It felt like I'd gone to Universal and been on a ride.
Absolutely. And thank fuck that they can actually pay off some of those loose ends that they left in those stingers that you mentioned.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Because it was all looking a little bit shaky there for a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, what's your number 3?
3, yeah. My number 3 is Rian Johnson's Knives Out.
Ooh.
Which came out right at the end of last year. I went along on my Todd and watched it. And it's basically a whodunit.
Okay.
Of absolutely classic whodunit with an all-star cast led by Daniel Craig, who plays Benoit Blanc, who has a ridiculous accent like that, but much deeper. And it kind of someone gets there's all these family members all gathered in a house for this old fella's birthday. He's like a writer. He gets murdered, and then it's all about whodunit. Like Clue or Agatha Christie, in a proper classic way, but it's completely original, apart from the fact that it's in that genre.
Yeah.
But it takes some really interesting twists and turns, almost to the point where he pretty much lays out what happens, and then it almost turns into a bit of a thriller as you're wondering how they might get away with it. I don't think that's too much of a spoiler. But anyway, it's all the whole film is like this sort of clockwork puzzle of a film, and it's just really entertaining. It's got loads of cool lines. There's also a little bit of a political attack on the again another film that sort of is all about the haves and the has-nots, the immigration, little bit of sort of reference to the world we're currently in at the moment, and I like that. I really recommend it.
Nice.
And I think there is going to be more. There's going to be like a sequel featuring Daniel Craig's character again. So I think he's sort of like, Ryan Johnson was like, yeah, if this does all right, and it did do surprisingly well at the box office, he was saying, oh yeah, I'll do more, no problem.
Nice.
But yeah, it might not be anytime soon because this one took quite a long time for him to actually write because it's very fiddly and stuff. And he's supposed to be doing a Star Wars trilogy at some point as well, so not sure how he'll balance those out.
Well, he's just finished Bond, so I'm sure he needs a bit of a rest.
That's true, although he has got something to fall back on now.
Yeah, true.
Should he do any more films? If this is definitely the last Bond movie, I think it is.
He said that a lot of the time, but
yeah, well, he said it last time,
and the time before,
yeah. Oh, well.
I think Quantum of Solace was meant to be his last one, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, fucking hell, that was a disaster. That one, from what I remember. I'm going to rewatch them all. I think in the run up.
I haven't seen that one in so long. I remember liking Casino Royale. I remember Quantum of Solace being a bit confusing, but I still think my favourite one has got to be what was it?
Casino Royale?
No, Skyfall. It's by a country mile. For me, that is the Winter Soldier of the Daniel Craig Bond films.
Yeah, I mean, it references so much
the way it's set up. I love the story of it. It's just so good.
Yeah. Yeah, Casino Royale came out in 2006, so
Holy shit.
That's like 15 years he's been Bond for now.
Wow.
Yeah, so they normally, they've really slowed that down.
Yeah.
But, anyway, we digress. What is your number 2 then, Marcus? We're getting close now.
Yeah. I think you'll probably work out what my number 1 film is going to be from this one.
Yeah, you've probably worked out mine as well.
Yeah, my number 2 film is... I know what, I'm going to be completely unashamed about it. I've gone from the heart. Films that may not be as popular, but as shown with Detective Pikachu, they have a special place in my heart because they're my top 5. My second one is Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
Yeah, wicked. Movie Bob, that was his movie of the year.
Because
so,
I've said it before, they fucking did it, and I don't give a fuck who doesn't like the film. It's not for you. I hate to say it, but it's just genuinely not for you. It was designed from the ground up, and I can say this having seen the film 3 times. It was designed from the ground up to appeal to fans who love Godzilla films and may have come in from the previous legendary version. And my God, they've done it. And if anyone complains, and it's... I love the fact that the complaint about it is there isn't much character development. I mean, it's a giant monster biting another giant monster, smashing buildings. It's like watching Pacific Rim and minding going, what did they run on? Surely it can't be petrol. You're missing the point. It's a big monster movie. It's designed to be big and monstery. The people are collateral side stories. The people basically allow the joining between monster fights. That is the rule. It's a B movie. But my God, it's gorgeous. And it's glorious. Yeah. And Ken Watanabe, my God, that guy, I could listen to him talk all day. He just plays like not crazy Japanese scientist, but Japanese scientist guy who, has a message and just goes and does what the fuck he does. And my God, I loved it.
You do need people like that in this world.
I wish that I could see it in the cinema again. I wish I'd gone to see it more times. That's my one regret about the film. That and it's not longer.
Yeah, there is a new one coming out, isn't there? Is it Godzilla vs. Kong?
Yeah, because they're setting up the lore. It's the legendary universe, which, unlike the Universal universe, they didn't rush. They spent time building this baby up.
That's been pushed back a bit. November now, apparently. November 20th.
To be honest, I saw it's a remake. They did one years ago, I think like the 60s or 70s or something. And that was kind of terrible, but it's the big question, isn't it? Eastern giant monster versus Western giant monster creation, which one would win? But I think the story they'll do for this is a bit more complicated because they talk about the Titans and everything and all the lore they set up from, which is funny talking about lore of a monster movie, set up from Godzilla, King of the Monsters and stuff. The fact that there's so many out there. I think they mention as a throwaway comment, there are like 13 of them, but we only see 5, maybe 6.
Right, yeah.
And so they kind of throw this comment away, and I'm like, holy shit. So there's pretty much probably all of the ones from all of the Japanese films and stuff, as well as Kong and others. So I'm looking forward to see what kind of crazy shit they do, to be honest.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, then.
I've been listening to the soundtrack in work as well. It's just...
Who do you know who did it?
Greg, someone, I think... the top of my head.
Okay.
I should know. Benny A or something like that.
Okay.
But yeah,
cool. So that's
very,
good.
it's a very strange, respectful theme because I'm a bit sad that they ditched the, was it 2017 Godzilla theme, because it had its own unique feel. It's almost like a military sort of drum style and beat to it. But they've kind of gone with the original Toho version. But they've added like fisherman sort of choir and everything to it, and it feels like it's proper reverence of source material.
Oh, it says Bear McCreary.
That's it.
Yeah. He's done some good stuff.
Yeah, it's an amazing score. It's just phenomenal. Carries the film a lot in some ways. It just makes all the scenes that much more epic. But anyway, yeah, I'll stop because I've talked loads about this already.
It's all right.
And we don't have time for a 5-hour podcast where Marcus talks monsters.
No, we're getting there, but we've got much to get through.
Yeah.
So my number 2 is Wild Rose, which is a film about this Glaswegian woman who is a mother, and she's just come out of prison, and all she wants to do is be a country and western singer, and obviously she's got to deal with her dreams at the same time as her responsibilities to her kids. Her mum, her kids have been brought up by her mum while she's been in jail. And her mum is played by Julie Walters. Jessie Buckley is the main actress. And it's really good. And the soundtrack is awesome. I think there's a few covers there, but the song at the end, which I think is an original composition, is just unbelievable. Such a tremendous finale. You just have to watch it. I've watched it on my phone, to be honest with you, and the power that it had just blew me away. I mean,
nice.
It was made, it wasn't an expensive film. It's not made loads of money, but this is my sort of one that I just want to sort of throw a bit of weight behind and just sort of emphasise how good it is. It's like a gem in the rough. And I guess I just kind of identify with that kind of dream that she had, of making it big and stuff, and also just the crushing reality of life that counterbalances that. Any film like that, I'm an easy mark for.
Yeah,
and I was waiting to see it all year really because I missed it at the cinema. It didn't have a very big release. I think it might have been on at Everyman for a week.
Okay.
And so I was just keeping an eye on it, and then it popped up on Amazon, and I was like, I'm having that. And I really enjoyed it, and I'd recommend it to anyone.
Nice. I'll check that out. Man, that's my list. Wild Rose.
Yeah. Wild Rose, yeah. You'll probably find it. It'll pop up on Netflix soon enough, I reckon. Just keep an eye out.
That's on the list.
Okay, so shall we do our number 1 together?
Yeah. Endgame.
Avengers Endgame. It's not even fair.
No.
This is the cap on what I would consider to be the greatest cinematic achievement of all time.
Short of actually inventing cinema. It's like, you can have cinema this way now.
It goes to show they can and the fact that they just brought it to such a satisfying end in a year that also saw the end of 2 other gigantic things, Game of Thrones, end in quotes, of Star Wars. I think just the shortcomings of Rise of Skywalker, you can almost measure this against. in terms of how successful
Yeah.
Avengers was. When it had to finish off a 22 film arc, all right, yeah, okay, you can say 40 years of Star Wars, similar.
No, yeah, but 22 films, it's more than...
Yeah, but it's just not even close. And I know Star Wars was plagued with problems, and I don't want this conversation to just be about, again, how disappointed I was with that.
Yeah.
But, you know, you could just honestly,
no,
like,
they nailed
Avengers...
it. They absolutely nailed it.
They absolutely took it.
I want the Blu-ray of all 22 films for it to look like a comic book, so you can flick through it. Each one's got a comic book page on the front, and it'd just be like, "This is the tome," or just be like, and on the back a little footnote: "DC, this is how you do it."
Yeah, God, and it throws that into context as well. Really,
but that's the thing. They literally bloody-mindedly just went, "We're going to approach this like a television show. We're gonna." It's. I mean, I don't want to use that term, but the only thing I can think of is kind of similar. It's like the CW shows where you get the crossovers. You got each individual little franchise, and they all cross over, and you get an event, which basically is comic books. So they approach cinema in the way that they write comic books. And if someone told me that was going to happen with cinema, with the amount of money they were throwing into these films, I would have just gone, they're going to go bankrupt. What the hell? They must have tied up all of the accountants in the room and told them, no, we're just going to do cartoons.
Well, they employed every single special effects company.
Yeah.
You know, pretty much filled out every studio in the world.
Yeah.
You know, they've had that. I think it's one of the ones in London. I think that they've just had not nailed down for like ever. But you know, they had a plan. They executed the plan. You know, they were very lucky casting Robert Downey Jr. In the role of Tony Stark. And
I think keeping him as Tony Stark was the real luck. Because if they lost that, if he walked,
that's true.
Jeez. Somewhere there's an alternative universe where Thanos has won and Robert Downey Jr. did not continue with those films.
Yeah, but no, it's just such a colossal achievement. We've dedicated an entire episode to it earlier in the year. But yeah, it still remains by a country mile the best thing I've seen. And I loved it so much, and I watched a bunch of the Avengers films in the run-up to this one. But what I did then afterwards, I only watched it once in the cinema, and then I proceeded to buy the Blu-rays for every single... I bought all 4 MCU Blu-ray box sets.
Wow.
And so have been, in chronological order, rewatching all of the films all through the summer until the final box came out, so that I could rewatch Endgame again, and it still had the same impact, even more so because all of those other memories. I mean, it's Stark and it's Cap, you know, their main arcs are so tightly woven through it. I think that's it, really. They just had those 2 characters that they really, really focused on. Just really paid off. Really paid off. It's like nothing else. And nothing can touch it now. No. You know.
Until they do the next season. And then we're celebrating like 1,000 years of Marvel cinema way, way in the future. Where
Yeah, we've got Black Widow, I think, in May. That's the next one. And then nothing until the Eternals at the end of the year. So this year's going to be quite light for the MCU, but I feel like...
I think they've earned the rest.
Yeah, they do. I think, they deserve it. And it'll be time, you know, for them to just slow down, get their ducks in a row, and then slowly but surely we'll get the X-Men come through, and there'll be another big giant event.
Yeah, they've got time to sit down, concentrate on TV stuff, and see what's going on. And
there is that as well, I suppose. So Disney Plus.
So they've got time to try something different rather than just start churning through the next arc. Because why? That doesn't always, as we know, that doesn't always work out well when you rush an arc. So
yeah, I think I think they said that the WandaVision, that's been moved forwards because I think that wasn't going to come out until next year, but they're saying that's actually going to come in 2020.
They're strategizing because whenever they move stuff forwards and back, it doesn't feel like they're doing it because it's either not ready or whatever. It feels like they have a plan and they're kind of going, actually, that one would work better there and there and there and there, because a lot of these films were moved around, and you see the end result and you kind of go, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the thing is, though, you're looking at a good sort of 18 months for a TV show, and like 2 years for a movie. So I think they really didn't know what to do after Endgame for a while because, you'd think they'd have something in the tank even sooner than that. But anyway, it's going to be a light year next year, but, it'll be worth it. Right, so did you have any noteworthy mentions you wanted to? Honourable mentions?
I did. Honourable mention, John Wick 3, Parabellum.
Tick, that's what mine too.
While the story might not be as engrossing as the others, my God, it's still such a great film. Loved it. It Chapter 2, for me. I thought it was a nice way to end it off. I still think it suffers from being massively outshone by the first part, but as a way to close off the book, I enjoyed it. I didn't walk out the cinema thinking, what a pile of shit. I enjoyed that. And you did. And Eli, a Netflix film which came out in October.
Oh,
it's a horror film.
That.
It's about a child who I've recommended this to John. It's Eli. Don't Google it because it will spoil it. Go in blind. Trust me, you'll like it.
Okay.
It's a kid goes into like a kind of, it's a slightly haunted place. He's got a skin condition. You'll get spoilers. Trust me. Don't look. Don't look.
I'm just looking at it on Netflix.
No, yeah, but don't look because Netflix is a dick as well. And if it puts the wrong thumbnail up, it'll fuck you. We went into this completely blind, roulette, horror film. We do that on a Friday. We watched this film. My God, the twist. There is a twist.
Oh. But, okay, well, I guess, hence you telling me not to look at anything.
But
for it. I have to just type it in blindly and press return and it will play.
It's typical creepy horror, kid in there and things going on, trying to solve the mystery of where he is and what happened. But I've got to say it's worth a watch. We've seen a lot of really crappy random horror films, but this has stuck out simply because it's made me go, holy shit.
Wow.
I think it's worth a watch. And because it's not part of a franchise or anything else, it's disposable. So, yeah.
Okay, cool. Any more?
I recommend it. I didn't have any more, but I'm sure there's loads more. Captain Marvel didn't quite make my top 5, but I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I was a bit dubious, and I can kind of forgive the way that she gets her powers and stuff like that because they kind of hint to the legacy and everyone else and all that. But it's the MCU. I had to get over all that kind of stuff when it started. It's not the comic universe; it's the cinematic universe. It's an adaptation, and it's fun, and I enjoyed it. So, big love to Captain Marvel.
Yeah, I obviously I watched it again. I own it now twice to do it chronologically because the Blu-ray wasn't out to do it like that. But anyway, I watched it a second time. I thought it was fine. It's definitely not on a second rewatch. It's definitely not in the top half of the MCU for me. But it's the MCU, so even on a bad day, the MCU is the MCU, and I love it. I've got a few little mentions here. Okay, what order should I do these in? All right, so on Netflix, Marriage Story. That's Adam Driver, Scarlett Johansson having a divorce, and really, really well done. Excellent performances. I told my sister to watch it. She went, "Oh, it was all right." And then I said to her, "So who do you think was in the right then?" And we were talking about it all the way to my mum's. So that's it's
Clearly,
it's one
it
that
works.
yeah. It definitely it's a conversation starter. Also on Netflix, The Irishman, Martin Scorsese's return to the gangster genre with mental special effects de-aging on De Niro, Joe Pesci and Al Pacino, all three of them in one film at once in scenes together.
Again, yeah.
Well, one does not simply watch The Irishman. It's 3.5 fucking hours long.
Holy shit.
You have to reserve an evening for The Irishman. Yeah, but people will watch 4 episodes of fucking Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
so
true.
Go figure. Yeah. Anyway, Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Not a lot happens, but it's brilliantly put together.
Best review I've heard of it. It's just like
not a lot. Not a lot does happen really, but it's all built on the dread that you feel following Sharon Tate around on the day that she got murdered. Okay. So and it plays with that quite well in a very Tarantino type way. I shall say no more, but yeah, definitely a film in the conversation of films of the year, but not one that personally was all the way up there for me. And finally, I watched the documentary about Diego Maradona the other week, and that was a whole lot of shit that went down. So I found it quite moving. Just the whole rise and fall story. Seen it before, obviously, but just going into the details of what he actually dealt with, and just when you put that into context of football today, like I just don't even think that would be possible.
No.
Like the amount of organised crime and drugs he was into and all that. But, classic,
Diego.
Rise and fall sort of story. So, but yeah. I just wanted to mention that because it was quite good. That was done by the same guy that did the Amy Winehouse documentary a few years back. Yeah. And before that, he did one about Ayrton Senna that was really good as well.
Yes, I heard that was actually really good. I need to see that.
Yeah, yeah. So, just thought I'd mention those.
Good.
That's it.
I mean, to be honest, I've got a little list of films that did come out. I'll just bang through them. In 2019 that I haven't seen. Joker, you have. I haven't.
Rubbish.
Yeah.
Nominated for 11 Oscars, but I still think it's rubbish.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I just want to see it. I don't feel as though I can make up my mind without having seen it.
Yeah, I saw Justice League the other day for the same reason.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that was a mistake. Toy Story 4.
No, I haven't, but I also haven't seen Toy Story 2 or 3 either, which I'm going to fix when we get Disney+.
Okay. Midsummer. I haven't seen that.
Yes.
I'm looking at
that.
Doctor Sleep.
You must see that.
That's on my list. Zombieland, Double Tap.
No, I haven't seen that.
No. Jumanji, Next Level. Because I really enjoyed the Jumanji film that came out. I didn't think I would, but we saw it a couple of months ago, and I found myself, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was quite fun. It doesn't do anything else. It's got some interesting gimmicks, playing with the idea of video games and stuff like that, but I just found it quite enjoyable, so I'd love to see another one. Quite simply at that.
I also enjoyed Welcome to the Jungle, directed by Jake Kasdan, who is the son of Lawrence Kasdan, who wrote
Jumanji.
Empire Strikes Back and Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Okay.
Just saying. So
they just can't escape the jungle, can they?
No, but I think it's in the blood.
Yeah, I just found it one of those films where you watch it and you think that was a well put together, enjoyable film experience. It wasn't absolutely mind blowing, but it was just kind of perfect in that it's a film I wanted to watch. I was really entertained, enjoyed it, and then it's kind of done, and I would happily watch it again. It's one of those films where I could watch it a couple of times.
All I've heard about this very latest one is that slightly diminishing returns, in that it's kind of doing the same thing again. It might have been cool if they'd done it, because the first one was a board game, next one's a video game, the third one is what? I don't know.
Yeah, something else. Yeah.
So it's not quite the same step up, you know?
Yep. No, I totally get that. I kind of think it will be a case of that.
That's what I heard.
Yeah. Other films,
But, yeah.
Midway, which came out at the end of last year. Battle of Midway.
Oh, I've heard that shit.
I heard it was
really
alright, but I want to check it out anyway. I've got a sucker for random war films. I will still need to check out 1917, but that's for a different story.
That's Roland Emmerich, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'd heard that was not very good.
And obviously Wild Rose.
Yep, add that, definitely.
Yeah. And that's my films yet to watch.
That's your incomplete sampling, isn't it? Your pile of shame.
Yeah, or more. I'll get around to it when I can.
yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
I don't know what have I can probably pull up a list. I can pull up a list of the things I've got on my wish list on Cinema Paradiso to see if there's anything you haven't mentioned. 1 second. So I've got Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Like to see.
Also Fleabag. But actually, no, that's TV.
That's TV.
Yeah.
Almost the length of a film, though.
Yeah.
There's a film called Out of Blue, which is about the murder of an astrophysicist in New Orleans. It just had loads of keywords in it that appealed to me, so I thought I'd have to watch that. And it's directed by Carol Morley, who's done some cool stuff. Hang on, what else have I got that isn't come out? Oh, Jay and Silent Bob reboot.
I heard that. I wasn't sure if that was out yet or not, but I guess so.
It came out on a very short run at the Prince Charles Cinema where he was doing Q&A.
Oh, man.
I was going to go with our friend Louise, but obviously she's like on maternity leave and stuff, and it's all a bit tricky, so never got around to that. Ad Astra, Brad Pitt sci-fi film. I've heard mixed things about it.
Yeah, I've heard a mixed bag about that. I'll probably catch it at some point.
Zombieland Double Tap, you mentioned. Ready or Not, I've heard, is quite a good film where this woman gets married to this guy, and they have to, there's like an initiation, and she has to basically run around and not get killed, and they're all after her. It's like a comedy horror film.
I think I've seen the trailer for that.
Yeah, it's got the one that looks like Margot Robbie, but isn't.
Yeah, I'm going to put that on there. Ready or Not.
There's this movie that was a lot of people were talking about at South by Southwest called The Peanut Butter Falcon, and it's got Shia LaBeouf, and he's kind of like hanging out with this guy that's actually got real Down syndrome, and he wants to be a professional wrestler. It's supposed to be really, really good. Dakota Johnson's also in that, so I really want to see that. Terminator Dark Fate, I am still interested in seeing.
I'm interested. I wasn't sure if I was going to add that on there because I thought if it sparks a debate that goes on for an hour or a tirade, I don't know. But I need to see it. I feel as though I need to see it. I haven't watched the last two films, I think. But okay.
I feel like I can probably just watch this one because it's all timey-wimey and you can just ignore the rest of it, can't you, really?
It's amazing how Doctor Who still gets around.
Doctor Sleep, Le Mans 66, which is called Ford versus Ferrari in America. That's about the... it's about racing.
Yeah, it's the feud between Ford and Ferrari where the GT40 was born, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's quite a seminal race. I think it's the Le Mans 24 hour.
Yeah, I think I know the story because they've done it on Top Gear or Grand Tour. So yeah, I've got that on my list. It's also got an Academy Award nomination for Best Picture.
Nice.
And I think that's about it for stuff that actually came out in the UK this year. Everyone's talking about Parasite and Jojo Rabbit, but we're into 2020 now. So but that's it. Any films you're particularly looking forward to next year?
I don't really know. Let's see. I should have prepped this bit if I actually.
Sorry,
no, it's cool.
On, yeah.
I like this.
I just thought about it.
This is good. Okay, so I do want to see the new Bond film, No Time to Die. I do want to see Top Gun Maverick because it's a new Top Gun film, and why not? It's the same kind of weird interest as like a new Terminator film. When there were less of them.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see Mulan because I kind of want to see what Disney do with it.
I'm really interested
if
in
they
that
go
now.
darker.
I saw a trailer.
I know. I've got a weird obsession with seeing what they do with these live action ones, and I've only been impressed with a couple of them.
I'm going to see when that's out.
Wonder Woman, 1984. That's what I'm definitely up for.
Yeah.
Black Widow 1, yeah, I'm kind of interested. I do want to see Ghostbusters Afterlife.
I'm so unsure about that.
And I do want to see Bill and Ted Face the Music.
Yeah.
There's actually quite a few here, actually. The King's Man, which is like, I think, the birth of Kingsman.
That got pushed back. That was supposed to come out really soon, but it's got pushed right back to the end of the year. Okay, if you're just going through them, Conjuring 3 is coming out.
Yes.
About the same time.
We've probably got very similar lists, which is like...
yeah, I've just had a few marked on my list of things. Tenet is the new film by Christopher Nolan. Nice. Apparently comes out on the same week as Top Gun. That's not going to happen.
Okay.
One of them is moving.
That's dangerous, yeah.
Yeah. June at the end of the year. The new guy.
Oh God, that's actually coming out. I thought that disappeared.
No, that is happening. It's got a star-studded cast, and it's being directed by Denis Villeneuve, who did Blade Runner 2049.
Awesome.
Eternals, that will probably kick off. I think that's going to be quite an epic MCU film. I have a feeling that may make up for the general lack of MCU this year.
Yeah. Well, I've got to wait until the end of the year before I get my monster fix with Godzilla vs. Kong, as we mentioned earlier.
That's it, yeah. Yes,
I'm seeing some weird stuff coming up, like they're even growing the universe more, because there's like stuff like Mechagodzilla and stuff like that as well, which I heard was hinted at in King of the Monsters. And I'm like, really? So now I need to watch the film again. I'm a complete idiot. I just can't get enough of this shit. I'm a loser, but I'm happy. So fuck the world.
So, talking of monsters, did you mention A Quiet Place 2?
Oh yes, no, I didn't. But I'm so up for that. I want to see that in the cinema.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know if it will still have the same impact, but.
Well, I failed miserably to see that at the cinema. I think just at the time there was a lot else on.
Yeah.
And I just could not, it was a movie trip too far. But it looks like from the trailer that it's going to carry on almost from the end of the last film.
Oh, wow.
So it's very much part 2, the way they're doing it.
Okay.
Which is interesting because I sort of speculated that they'd do like a time jump and,
yeah, because the film ended with cocking a shotgun and let's go.
Yeah. But, I guess they're just really up for mining it for all it's worth. So if they do it like this, then they can put out another one in another couple of years.
Yeah.
As long as John Krasinski's involved, I think we're in safe hands. But
Also, I'm not saying I'm looking forward to it, but I need to see it because it's been sitting around for so fucking long, and I don't know what medium I'll see it. So it may be next year or maybe the year after. New Mutants film. Because I'm just curious. I'm just curious what the fuck they're going to do.
They put out another trailer for that the other day, didn't they?
Huh?
They put out another trailer for that.
Maybe. I've not watched it. Whatever.
They made that film about 2 years ago.
Yeah, I know. And they're still picking at it. I've seen X-Men Dark Phoenix, and it wasn't that good.
Yeah, no.
I'm glad I didn't go to the cinema. I needed to see it. I did see it. I don't wish I hadn't, because I needed to see it. But yeah, let's move on.
See, this is the thing. My argument about Titans. Yeah, I can't really deal with any other superhero stuff now because none of it has any of the weight or impact that the MCU does. It all just looks stupid to me.
That's the problem. They've made everything look pony, and it's really unfair. It's really unfair because it's like whatever you're seeing, you can't measure it to that because it's ridiculous. They've basically gone off the scale, picked up the scale, and chucked it into orbit.
Yeah,
and then looked at you and gone like, "Bring it, bruh." You're like, "What?"
Yeah. That said, I didn't mind Shazam. even though it was a bit Power Rangers.
Shazam, they had to go different with it. They really had to go goofy.
Well, they were clearly
and
aping
picking
MCU
Zachary
a bit.
What's his name?
Zachary Levi?
Yeah. Picking him as the role, I thought was a good idea, because he's off the back of, God, what was it? When he was the spy. Chuck, yeah. Because I haven't seen him in anything since then, and that worked really well.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I know.
Yeah, cool. Right then, well, I think that takes care of movies. Before we digress once again into superhero stuff.
God, Ghostbusters looks fun, though.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the Not Watching Podcast, part of the Not Listening Podcast Network, where you can also find the Not Playing Podcast, where we talk about video games, and the Not Listening Podcast, where you can hear Adam and Co talk about all kinds of nonsensical nonsense. You can email us at notwatchingpodcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet at or follow us on Twitter at notwatchingpod. You can find the show notes for all our shows at notlistening.co.uk, and if you like what you've heard here, please do leave us a review. Anyway, that's all for now. Until next time, bye!